Welcome to the You Need More Money podcast. I'm your host, Matt Manero. I come to you every week out of my studio in Dallas, Texas. I'm jumping on for a quick bonus episode, a quick riff, if you will, because I got something in my email box today and I had to jump on and tell everybody that this is the fastest way to never get rich. So I received this offer from a bank in my email. They profiled me as their preferred client, the type of customer that the bank wants to do business with. And they sent me their savings rates, what I can earn on my money at the bank. And it was just so fascinating to me how archaic this entire idea of putting money in a bank and thinking that it actually has any benefit over time. So here's the offer that they sent to me. If I put up to $2,499 into the bank in a savings account, they would pay me $0. If I put $2,500 to $9,999 in there, they would pay me 0.19%. And then if I put $10,000 or more in the bank, they would pay me $0. The fastest way to never get rich is to put money in a bank. If you think you're going to get rich. The only reason you should ever put money in a bank is to do what I say in the book, You Need More Money, which is to create your reserve account and stack and rack cash in the reserve account. That is the only reason you should ever have money in a bank. Now, I'm going to give you some strategies on this quick riff to help you through what I'm talking about. So in the book, You Need More Money, by the way, that book is now available for pre-order on Amazon. So if you're interested in pre-ordering it, go to Amazon, type in You Need More Money, Matt Manero, and the book will pop up. It's $26, best $26 you could ever spend. The other best $20 you could ever spend is my book, The Grit, which is also available on Amazon. Type in The Grit, Matt Manero, and pick that up for $20. Let's get back to the topic at hand. The bank is paying $0. $0. There's absolutely no upside to putting your money in your bank. And so the fastest way to never get rich is to think about the bank as an option for investment. It's impossible. There's absolutely no chance in ever getting rich. Listen, if the inflation rate, it's 3%, but if you actually go conservative and say the inflation rate is 2%, and you have your money in a bank, you're losing 2%. Simple math, right? Makes no sense to put in the bank. However, let me help you with it. You need to stack and rack cash. So you need to create two bank accounts. The first is your operating account. That's where your paycheck will go into. That's where your bills will be paid out of. And every dollar over your bills needs to be moved out of that bank and into a separate bank account at a different bank. I don't care what the rate of return is, because that becomes your reserve account. Now, this is not a secret stash account. This is not a don't tell my wife about the bank account stash. This is where you put your money in to stack and rack your cash. Now, what you're probably saying is, well, what am I supposed to do with my money? I mean, I got to get a return on my money. I've got to leverage my money. I've got to put my money to work. I've got to get my money working for me, right, Matt? Isn't that how the rich get rich? No, not by using a bank. I'm going to tell you what I mean. If you don't have money in your reserve account, the opportunity for you to ever get rich will never present itself. Because in order to get rich, you will have to take advantage of certain opportunities that present themselves when, do what I say in the book, leverage up, work your network, move up the food chain, meet rich people, and then eventually an opportunity is going to come across your desk and you're going to need to have money to be able to invest in that opportunity. It's happened to me multiple times. It happened to me on commercial real estate deals twice that I jumped on. Helped me out tremendously. Helped me on a private equity deal that I had to have X number of six figures to get into. If I didn't have the reserve account to have my stack and rack cash, those opportunities would have never presented itself. Now, what happens if you're not in a position to have those opportunities? They never came across my desk. For 15 of my 23 years in business, those opportunities never came across my desk. Nobody ever said, hey, Matt, I got this great commercial apartment deal that I'd like you to invest in. It never happened. You got to go out and find those. But here's what you got to do if you're not in the position to take, because you don't have the stack and rack cash and you can't stroke a big check to get in those deals. Here's what you got to do in the meantime. First things first, you got to spend money on yourself. The greatest return you will ever get on your money, period, is when you invest in yourself. Over a lifetime, investing in yourself. Now, what do I mean by in yourself? I mean skilling up. I mean getting your self-esteem right. I mean maybe working out with a trainer to get physically fit. I mean learning, deeply learning about your industry. I call it your platform, your niche. All of those things are investing in yourself. It's the best money you could ever spend. Look, if you learned one thing from a book and it helped you go from 50 grand to 150 grand in annual income, that's an unbelievable return on your investment. You should think about investing in yourself to be able to make those moves. How do you go from 50 to 150? How do you go from 150 to 300? How do you go from 300 to 500? You do it by investing in yourself, and that is literally the roadmap. You're going to have a hard time at 50 grand a year getting the attention of anybody super wealthy. You just don't have anything to bring to their table. So invest the money in yourself by learning, by skilling up, by buying books, by going to trade shows, by going to conventions, by taking people out to lunch maybe. So you can go from 50 to 150 and you can stack and rack. If you can live on 50 and you can make 150, you just stacked and racked 100K. Now listen to what I say about this. You must have 100,000 in your reserve account before you should ever think about making an investment deal. Now, one of the guys in my office, I love him, just before I walk in the studio, he tells me he bought $250 worth of Bitcoin. He should have kept the $250 and put it towards a convention. It's a waste of time. It doesn't move the needle of net worth. That 250 should have gone into the reserve account. He should have been figuring out ways that 250, he could make another 250 and another 250 and then 2,500 and then 25,000 on deals by skilling up and putting that money in the stack and rack account. Very quickly, on the reserve account, I talk about this at length in my book. The reserve account must be a separate bank account at a separate bank that has no check writing capabilities and no debit card connected to it. You must make it extremely difficult for you to get that money out of the bank. I have two reserve accounts. I have one for my business and I have one personally. They are both at separate banks and neither of them have check writing nor ATM or debit card connected to them. If I want money out of that reserve account, I literally have to go into the bank, I have to request a cashier's check or a wire transfer, and I have to send it into the deal that I'm investing in. There's no possible way that you should be able to touch your reserve account unless you are making deep investment moves, and your reserve account should not think about being touched until it's got 100 grand in it. Another way that you can really maximize your return to be able to move up the food chain of wealth is invest in networking. So I want you to go, this is zero interest rate environment at the banks. I mean, it's worthless. So take this money, stack and rack it, and then take a portion of it and invest it in networking. Get yourself to these better conferences, better trade shows. Go where the money is. Invite people to lunch and dinner. Look, if you spent $100 on dinner with a player and he or she turned you on to a deal because you can invest your 100 or 200 or 300, whatever you have in that reserve account, your stack and rack cash, it's the best $100 you could ever spend. It will pay for itself thousands and thousands and thousands of times over. You have to have the reserve account funded with $100,000 before you're ready to pounce on a deal. You might think that it's a long-term stupid play not to put your money to work earning interest. And I'm telling you, it is a really smart short-term play. until you build a money machine that can get you $100,000 free and clear, liquid, sitting, liquid, dry powder in that reserve account, you shouldn't be thinking about ways to multiply it. The only thing you should be thinking about is ways to make more money and to skill up and be able to get to the next step with your stack and rack cash. So the moral of the story is, the fastest way to never get rich is to put your money in a bank thinking that any yields from the bank are possible. It's a zero interest environment. It's a total waste of your time. And I also want you, I'm going to go so far as to say the fastest way to never get rich is to take your little bit of earnings that you have and think of ways for you to leverage it. Don't do that. Stack and rack your cash in a second bank account that has no check writing, no ATM, no debit card capabilities to it. Get it to $100,000 and then start to look for your investment strategies. Too many people are looking for investment strategies that never have a chance of moving the needle in net worth. My man in the office who put his $250 into Bitcoin. Bitcoin today is $11,500. $250 into $11,500 is absurd. To double the $250 to $500, Bitcoin has to go from $11,500 to $23,000. You have to have 100% gain in Bitcoin for your $250 to become $500. It's a total waste of time. Take a guy out to lunch for the $250, for goodness sake, man. Go to a trade show. Get your ass on a plane and go to 10X GrowthCon in Vegas, for goodness sake. But you're not making moves when you're investing small amounts of money. You need to stack and rack the cash. Reserve account must equal 100K. No one is going to tell you this. No one is. You listen to Dave Ramsey, none of those guys are going to tell you what the numbers are. The numbers are you need 100K liquid before you should ever think about making moves in your long-term strategies or investment strategies. Period. End of story. Yeah, but I could get 5% down on a home. Don't do it. Take the 5%, put it in the bank, go figure out how to make more money, put more money in the bank until you get to 100, and then start to worry about what your long-term play is. Hey, I'm your host, Matt Manero. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, everybody, for the reviews. Remember, You Need More Money is now on pre-order. The book comes out March 20th, so you still got 3 months before you're going to get it, but you can pre-order it on Amazon. I'll see you down the road.